Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome to the Above Ground Leadership Podcast, episode 9. We've been gone for a couple of weeks, had a hiatus with the players coming back to campus, students getting back to school, just been kind of a whirlwind. But we're back like we never left. This show, I'm joined by my friend, my brother, Justin Gage. Justin is a war veteran, all right, a leader, a warrant officer, been in the military, 18 years now, Justin?
17
years. Look, I'm giving you a year. It's all,
Hey, go ahead.
it'll all be in front of you before you know it, man.
Exactly.
So again, welcome to the show, man. Welcome. So no, let me
Thank
get y'all. I can't leave this out. So Gage is the producer, the editor, the marketer of Above Ground Leadership. So like, I might be the voice and I might be on here, like getting the show done, but when it comes to the graphics, all the high speed videos and all that, my man, he comes through for me. I know I bug him at all times trying to get this thing right, but that's just a skill that he has, a talent that he has, that I'm always telling him, hey man, you should go in business doing this thing, right? Because he's just really good at it. But that's just one of his many talents. And I'll say this, in the military, we do a lot of things. We do a lot of things, and leadership and leading soldiers and going to combat, that's just one of them. But I, like myself, I was a barber, and a lot of people always say, man, you're a barber, this thing, you're really good at this, chief. And you're really good at what you do, right? You're really good at what you do. And sometimes we don't really realize that until somebody else gets your work.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're like, man, he did this. Because like when you did the work, the pictures for us, for the team. And coach was like, good God, man, this is great. Like this is outstanding. So that just shows our work. But I'll let you go. I gave your introduction, so let you introduce yourself, say anything that you have, and then we'll get into our topic.
Yeah, so for everyone watching, my name is Justin Gage. So I've been in the military for 17 years. I'm from Longview, Texas, East Texas. So right between Dallas and Shreveport, Louisiana. So right there on that border of Texas. Love what I do. Military, I love it. I came in, I needed that structure in my life. I did not know that, but I know now I needed that structure in my life. It had me disciplined. I just been, any task that's given to me, I work. I try to do the best that I can with the resources that are given to me, and I just go at it. And do the best I can. And I feel like it has got me to where I'm supposed to be. I am a warrant officer, CW2, Chief Warrant Officer 2, and I've been for 5 years now. It's the best decision I've ever made in my career. Best decision. I love what I do. I love the job with a passion, and I just love, trying to spread the knowledge for, the younger soldiers coming up, as it's for the fuel field, water, lab. We're just trying to make sure that they know what they're doing. They're doing everything by the book, by the regulation. And it just like build a good team. And I know that for a fact. I'm saying MOS as you was warrant officer. I still remember the first time I met you, but I feel like our field is great, and we have a great amount of leaders in our field, and we do a great job. And I'm excited. I'm happy to be part of the team, and I love it.
And I'm gonna say this to that. As we talk about leaders, and like, okay, so today's show or today's episode is going to be about making mistakes, right, and growing from them and moving on from them, right, and rebounding from them, or fighting through adversity, right? All these things that leaders deal with all the time, right? You see this, and one of the biggest things I tell anybody that'll listen, right? Anybody that'll listen is that failure is part of the process. You can't be truly successful in something and can't be great and elite at something if you ain't never failed at it, right? Because that's when we grow, right? That's when we grow. That's when we dig down deep and we say, man, how did I fail at this, or why did I fail at this? And if we don't do that, that's the way we should do it, right? We have to really, at some point in society, our people, our kids and our younger people have been conditioned that failure is fatal, failure is bad, right? And it's not, right? It's part of it. You're going to fail if you're trying to do something that's not just normal or not just standard, right? Or not regular, right? You're gonna struggle in it, right? But that's when you have to really, again, understand that, right? Understand that, okay, I may fail, I'm not gonna change my goal. I may change my approach, right? I may try to go at this thing at a different angle, and understanding that just because I failed at it, as I said in the previous podcast, we don't lose. You either win or you learn, right? And so you go into it and you learn from it. And so you take your failures and you look at it, you add to it, and you say, okay, I'm gonna take this experience with me, I'm gonna put it in my pocket, and I'm gonna drive on. All right, what you think about that?
Now I'll tell you, Ray. So for the longest, the way my mentality was, the way I thought was, I cannot fail. And if I did end up failing, then I would beat myself up so much where I would become into this depressed state, right? Mm-hmm. And not knowing what I'm doing, I'm just doing it subconsciously. I'm just doing it. Go out there, do the best I can. I fail. I just keep beating myself up. So it took me a while, but I understood, like, okay, why am I beating myself up? Okay, so what? I don't know how to do it. Let's say I didn't know how to add, right? Right. And somebody asked me a question, what's 2 + 2? And I had no idea. Right. Old self, I would beat myself up and be like, why did I not know that? I should have known that. They teach this in school. Why didn't I pay attention? Just beat myself up. Wrong for that. So now my mentality is this. If I don't know something, 2 + 2, I didn't know, I'm going to go home, research it later at night, write it down. Okay, why did you not know this? I didn't know this. Okay, let me see. Let me learn it. Okay, this is how you learn it. Got it. It's okay. So next time somebody asks me what 2 + 2 is, 4. Bam. Good to go.
It's funny. I'm interject right here. It's funny you say that, because I remember as an instructor at Warrant Officer Advanced course and Warrant Officer Basic course, that's one of the things I used to tell the warrant officers in that was in class. It's okay not to know.
Right.
You're better off saying, sir, ma'am, I don't know. I'll get back to you. Let me go find out. Right. Go find the answer, than to try to tap dance and BS and give a bad answer. Right. And there's no need to beat yourself up. But I used to always say that. I used to always say, listen, hey, I'm quick to say, hey, listen, don't, my favorite line, don't make me lie to you.
Yeah, no,
right? Don't make me lie to you. I don't know, right? But I'll find out. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And it's crazy you say that, because like when I envision the warrant officer, I'm like, okay, they know everything about their field. They know everything. You ask them a question, they're going to answer just like that and know it. So when someone asks me just a question, what chemical is this? It's for water purification, right? And I did not know it. This is real example. And they're like, you're a warrant officer, you should know this. To me, I would beat myself up instead of just being like, you know what? I should know this. Let me go back. Let me research what this chemical is. Let me study up on all the chemicals. So next time somebody come and ask me, what do I have in my motor pool? What is this chemical? I can answer it right away.
Right.
And, like I said, it took me a minute to realize that just don't beat yourself up. Just go learn it. Just stay positive, stay motivated, and you'll get it.
And that leads right into my next point. My next point is, man, is before I say it, in 2012, I probably went to the best training, in my opinion, the Army sent me to. One of the best trainings I went to. Army sent me to MRT school, Master Resiliency training, right? Went down to Fort Jackson, I think it was a week, maybe 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks. Went down to Fort Jackson for 2 weeks, went to MRT, and keep it in perspective, right? That is so important when dealing with stuff, because when we look at a problem, we always look at it through a magnifying glass. We look at a problem like it's almost like a kid, or a kid having a zit on their face. To them, the zit is this big.
Yeah.
To them, when they look at it in the mirror, that's all they can see. and their friends look at them and they don't even see it, right? You know, they spend more time trying to doctor it up and make people look at it versus just, but that's how we treat problems. We treat problems we just magnify them. And sometimes you just got to keep it in perspective. You got to really like take a step back and look at it. Okay, I failed at this. Now what? All right, let me learn from it. Instead of digging this hole and getting into this rabbit hole. And so now your thoughts is making it worse than it is. So now you got this big, you done created this big, gigantic creature of a problem that's really a pebble of a problem, right? So it's very important. It's very important that we keep things in perspective. We take it for what it's worth. We get to the root of the fundamental root of the mistake, right? You get to the root of the mistake, and then you start to chip away and learn and grow from that, right? Because as you beat yourself up, as you dig a hole and you trying to figure out, you know, why I got here, you know, here's this, it's my fault, this, you're not helping yourself, right? You're not helping yourself and you're not problem solving, right? Immediately, I know for myself, when I screw up, I did something wrong, I immediately get in the problem solving mode, right? Listen, it don't matter. Ain't nothing you can do about it now. We already here, right? We already here. There's no need to panic. There's no need to run around with our hair on fire because we're already, you know, dealing with something. So your best bet is now to come up with your problem solving. What you think?
Yeah, I mean, I love you. You're spot on. I still remember telling you things like, hey, you know, such and such happened. I didn't know it, Ray. I mean, come on. And you would, just like you said, you would coach me up. You'd be like, hey, man, stay positive. Just stay positive. Understand why, you know, why you didn't know that.
Right.
And, you know, that's why you're my mentor. That's why you're my mentor. Yeah, I just had to listen to you. That's all it was.
And man, sometimes again, you know, sometimes it takes that. And along that same note of keeping in perspective, the next thing is taking responsibility. So you can't grow if you don't do that. Right. So because it's a lot of times we only want to see the other side of the story, right? You know, a lot of times we want to see, okay, that they're the reason I'm here, or this happened and I did this, or if they didn't do this, I wouldn't be here, right? And I kind of try to take the approach opposite of that, right? Because, you know, right or wrong, I want to feel that I'm in control, right? I want to feel that I'm the reason that I'm in the position I'm in, right? And so you really have to like look at it and take responsibility for it, because as soon as you assume responsibility, right? As soon as you assume responsibility, you then start growing and you then start saying, okay, I did do this, right? Because when you're dealing with any kind of relationship, and I ain't just talking about no marriage, I'm talking about a friendship or a job relationship, a team relationship. Anytime you're dealing with a relationship and there's a conflict, here's the part that people forget. If it's a conflict, it's always two sides of it. It's never a one-sided conflict, right? So if you're part of the conflict, so you can't just look at the opposite side of the coin and say, yeah, this is why we're here, right? Because you can't fix their end. Right. You know what I mean? So bouncing back means you got to look at yourself. You got to look inward. Okay, this is why I'm here. Okay, I get it. And then you start to self-correct. What you think?
And so I'm glad you said that. So for me, it took me a minute to learn that, right? So I just a little background. Some people know, some people don't, but I ended up having real bad issues with drinking alcohol. And you know, I just kept every time, you know, after work or during the weekends, grab alcohol. And I thought it was making me, you know, feel better. It was, you know, bringing that negativity out of me and everything else. But instead, I was just kept beating myself up with it and making everything worse. And it came to a point to where I ended up having to reach out for help. And, you know, I referred myself. I ended up going to rehab. Best thing I've ever did in my whole life. It was 30 days. And I went to California, went to the rehab, and I learned so much there. It helped me out because I was able to take the learnings and then continue on. But when I came out of it and was face back to reality, then I started beating myself up again with all these issues, with all these problems. I didn't think nothing was wrong with me. I always thought I was trying to fix everybody else, but I wasn't trying to fix myself. And that's where it came to the point where I'm just like, okay, I need to work on myself. I need to fix on myself. What makes me happy? Alcohol.
Right.
I don't need alcohol to make me happy. I
Right.
need just surround myself with positive people, be very positive, and then spread the knowledge that I know to others. So anyone struggling with addiction, anyone struggling with alcohol, I'm here just to help them out and ensure that they got the resources, they know where to go, they know, my journey. So if it helps them, it helps them. If not, they have to find their own path. But I say this because rebounding, like it took a lot for me to go, and I did it. I helped myself, didn't get in no trouble, didn't do anything against the law, no nothing against military rules or anything like that. I just had a problem with alcohol. And I bounced back, and I'm putting my best foot forward, and I'm loving it. We're making things happen. Everything at work is great. We're just I want to say we're the best sustainment brigade in the whole military in the army. I can tell you that. But
Hey man,
yeah, so
and I tell you, I really have enjoyed your journey, right?
yes, sir.
As your friend, your brother, I've seen the dark times, and then again, we talking about bouncing back, right?
Yep.
And I first seen that firsthand, that how you responded, because it's a monster, and people don't know, and addiction at any rate. Some people are addicted to food. Some people are addicted to social media, right? Whatever your addiction is, it's a fight, right? It's a fight, and that goes to my next two points. But my next one is we talked about hold on, let me find my note. We talked about taking responsibility, but the next one is forgiving yourself, right?
Yeah.
And forgiving yourself is I take responsibility, right? But then what's done is done, right? What's done is done, and there's no rewind button in life, right?
Right.
There's a reason, and I'm gonna say this. Y'all can steal this and put this in y'all pocket. There's a reason the front mirror, the front window is this big, and the rear view mirror is this big, right? Your focus needs to be forward.
Exactly.
Right? You need to know what's behind you, right? You need to know what's behind you. You need to know where you came from and what you've been through. And again, take nuggets with you as you move forward. But your focus needs to be forward. And you can't move forward until you truly forgive yourself, right? Because you're gonna mess up, right? You're gonna mess up. And I'm critical on myself, right? I try to hold myself to a high standard when I do things. I don't try to do anything. I don't get involved in projects that I only can give half myself to, right? If I get involved in something, I'm all the way in, right? I'm all the way in. So I try to kind of hold myself to those standards. But then on that same token, right? If I screw it up, I'm like, dang, I messed this up. But I move on, right? I move on. I don't dwell on it. I don't dwell on it. And in coaching, it's almost the same thing with players and being a leader, with teams. People gonna make mistakes, right? Now, I don't need you to make the same mistake, right? Mistakes mean you learning. When you start making the same mistake, you're making a choice. You're making a choice not to move on, or you're just not good enough or talented enough. And that's just, the reality of that sometimes. So what you think about that, forgiving yourself?
Yeah, exactly. So a big thing for me was guilt and shame. I had a lot of guilt and shame. I was beating myself up for everything that I was guilty for, everything that I was shameful for. And I thought to myself, like, I do not deserve to be happy because I've done all this guilt, all this shame. Instead of just thinking about, okay, I need to like you said, look in the mirror, move forward. Don't look in the rearview mirror. I can't do nothing. It's already passed. It's gone. So what are you going to do to fix all that? What are you going to do? Okay, you might not have been the best father in the world, but what are you going to do moving forward? Are you going to teach them finances? Are you going to, teach them just life, period, how life works? Are you going to do that? Are you just going to sit there, feel sorry for yourself, and keep beating yourself up while they going to continue to struggle? And people are like, you just have to know, like, don't beat yourself up. Just look forward. Don't look in the rear. Look forward. Continue your path to greatness. And I mean, that's it, right?
Amen.
That's
That's
it.
that, I'm telling you, and I know, a lot of people, man, it sounds simple,
It
but
does, yeah.
those, I think we start, and one of the nuggets I took from MRT is one of the things that I learned or I picked up was simplicity is really the key.
Mhm.
Like, keep it simple, stupid. Don't make it too overcomplicated, and now you second guessing yourself. And yeah, so again, forgiving yourself so you can move on. But to move on, right? My next point is this: to move on, you got to have a strong will, right?
Yes.
To try again, right? When you want something, like when you really want something, you and because first off, the things that you want, the great things that you want to be is on the other side of hard, right?
Mhm.
And they're not just gonna come to you. You're gonna have to work for them. You're gonna have to persevere for them. You're gonna have some consistency for them. You're gonna have some stick to itiveness, right? You're gonna have to be able to stick it out and grind for it, right? And then once you fail, you got to have that strong mindset and take the responsibility to just try again. Don't be afraid to try again. Alter your plan, but not your goal. Don't change your goal. Stay with your plan, instill the confidence in yourself that there's nothing that can stop you. You're gonna get this goal. This is what I'm going to do, right? And then as you do that, right? As you do that, you'll start seeing little wins. You'll get a
Mhm.
win on this day, right? You'll get another win on this day, and then you start building that momentum, right? And that goal went from being 3 miles away to a 50-meter target, right? And again, but it all starts with having a will, just having the pure desire, right?
And what's helping me out, I set a goal, I write it out. I write it down. Before I wasn't, I was just like, okay, I need to save. Okay, I'm gonna save. But never, put my foot forward and save. Now I'm starting to write things down. Hey, need to save, I'm gonna save. Get out of debt, write it down. Get out of debt. Uh Credit score, go up, write it down. And as I do that, it's helping me stay focused and it's helping me be motivated. Okay, I wrote it down. I'm not erasing this until it is complete. Once it's complete, move on to the next goal. But that for me. So, in the military career, you're asked a lot. What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? And I could give them my short-term goals, long-term goals, but I never wrote it down, never had a plan.
So
And you have to do that. You can't just
you're
go just
absolutely right.
freestyle life. You just can't do that.
That is, it's funny. I know when my kids will watch this and they'll say, "Man, Dad, I say that." Hey, listen, write your plan down, right?
Exactly.
Write your plan down because it becomes your story, right? And write it in pencil. Don't write it in pen, right? Because you'll change, right?
Yep.
But excuse me, write your plan down. And the second thing of that is when you write your plan, because when you don't write your plan, I'm sorry, when you don't write your plan, it's just a dream, right? And you'll never really get up to chase it. But when you
Right.
put it on paper, it's like putting it on a contract.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And you just achieve those things, and that leads right to the next one, man. Like the next one is move on and act,
Yes.
right? And so when you say move on and act, it's almost like boom, okay, I done got my plan, right? I done got my strategy, right? How to move on from this failure, how to take action, how to rebound from defeat. I done figured it out. Once you've done that, and once you've analyzed everything, now you just can't have the aim syndrome.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You got to pull the trigger. You got to pull the trigger. You got to go after that goal. You know what I mean? Because like you said, when you're talking about saving money and talking about fixing your credit and doing all those things, you can say it every day. But until you act on it, you know what I mean? Until you act on it. As I told you, me, you, and KJ, I won't forget, we was riding in the car and I was telling y'all, man, my thing is what? Know my bads.
Yeah.
Don't give yourself know my bads, right? Because and look, for me, it was my my fitness journey, my health and fitness journey. And I tell you, people say, oh, you do, I weigh myself every day. I get up, get on the scale every day. And I don't do it for a number, right? But that's my writing it down for me.
Mm-hmm.
I get up and I see that number, right? And then I'll know if I had a bad week, right? Or if I don't, we went to Jamaica. I already knew when I got back from Jamaica, I had to get on that scale because I knew they were going to be tilted a little bit, right?
Right.
But it's a reality check, right? It's telling myself the truth, right? And then, and then again, and if I go through all of it, I forgive myself so I can move on and act to getting back on track. You know what I mean? But that's what it's about. Writing them goals down. That's a great point. Writing them goals down and then just move on and act. So what you think about moving on and acting? Like I say, you can't just aim. You got to be able to pull that trigger on them goals.
Right. And you're completely right. I mean, execution, you have to execute. You can say, whatever, I want to lose 30 pounds. You can write it down, but if you don't execute, it's not going to happen.
Right.
You're just going to keep beating yourself up and like, nah, you know what? It don't matter. I've always been this big. I'm always eating this junk food. I like it too much. The gym is too far away. It costs too much money. But just making excuses for yourself.
You can come up with 1,000 excuses, man.
1,000, Ray, 1,000. You have to execute. And once you execute, everything will fall in place. I'm telling you. That's all that matters. Execute.
That's funny. Because I tell you, I get after it now. Like I'm probably in some of the best shape of my life.
See,
and it's funny that I used to say, man, as I got older, I can't run because of this, or I can't do this because of my feet, my knees. I couldn't do all that because I was big as hell.
Right.
That wasn't age. You know what I mean? That wasn't age, and again, you have to be purposeful. You have to be you have to move with intent. You have to really like reflect on your mistakes, right? And you gotta own up to them. You know what I mean? You got to understand, what went wrong. If it's money, if it's your health, right? You usually in control. Like, and I'll just stick it on the health part. If it's your health, if it's your diet is 9 times 10 what you're eating, right? Because you can't outwork a bad diet, right? You watch your sugar and your sodium and drink all the water you can. You'll find yourself in a better position. And if it's finances, look at your finances. Like really look at them. Like and see, people will look around stuff, right, and never get to the root of the problem, because the root of the problem starts with us. And that goes back to a couple steps ago when I was saying that it's 2 sides of the coin, and the first side of it starts with you. You can't go pointing trying to figure out what somebody else is doing, and when you have a role in it. Matter of fact, you have the biggest role when it comes to you, right? So what you think? Reflecting on your mistakes.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's easy for us to, say all these things and everything. And, people watch this and be like, well, yeah, that's easy to say. But I was that person. And yeah, that's easy to say. But, it took me a minute to realize, like, you have to do it. I mean, just do it. You have to find something within yourself just to motivate you and get it done. So, like for me, I'm gonna tell you this, right? My finances and my debt, I guarantee you by the end of next year, I will be debt free and I will have a great savings plan in place.
I believe.
You know why? I'm speaking into existence. It's going to happen, and it's going to do it. It's going to happen.
Right.
You can write it down. We'll come back on August 23rd, 2022, and
right before tailgate.
I'm gonna be like, yep, right before the tailgate again. And I'm gonna tell you, hey, Ray, debt free. I did that. I did my execution. I made it happen and worked. I'm not going to stay here and make excuses. I'm not going to beat myself up. It's draining. You're just draining yourself.
Oh, no question.
Don't need to
No
do
question.
that at all. And man, I tell you what, I can't wait for that tailgate. Like,
I know, right? I know.
ready.
I know. So we're going to conclude this episode, man. But this here is great about rebounding, and I'll say this before I turn it over to you, let you have your closing thoughts. But leaders often struggle with this, and we struggle with this because we don't normally have anyone looking out for us. Right, we're always taking care of people. We're taking care of soldiers. You selfless service. Right, you're a selfless leader, and you're out there trying to make sure everyone else is good. Right, and you never look inward to make sure yourself is good. And then so when you make these mistakes, you don't know what to do, or you don't know where to turn, or you don't know where to go to. So again, forgive yourself. Right, take ownership. All right, move on and act. Because at the end of the day, it's really take a step back and look. Because at the end of the day, it's really not that bad. Right? It's not bad as you think. Right? And you live by those things, you grow by those things, and everything will be fine. So, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, my closing thoughts, Ray. For me, what worked for me is, not caring what others think, right? Doing what makes me happy, not worrying about what other people think. And like you said, we're leaders. We're worried about the soldiers. We're worrying about, taking care of the mission. We're worrying about everything else. And yes, leaders, they look at us, higher rank, and they're like, oh, well, he's an officer. He's a warrant officer. He's got it under control. He's good. But if you're not good, that's when you have to look inside and be like, okay, I need help. Reach out for help. You got friends, you got family, you got people that love you, you got military doctors, you have everything. Just reach out for help. Right. Tell them, like, who cares? So what? Yes, I was an alcoholic. I'm a recovering alcoholic now. 290 days, I believe, now sober. Hey. So Amen. Happy. Yeah, everybody can know that. I don't even, it doesn't matter to me because I know deep down inside I'm a great leader. I know what needs to get the job done, and we're gonna continue that path. And that's really all I got to say. It took me a minute to get on. You've been asking me to get on.
Man. Hey, look, and it was good combo. Won't be the last time.
Oh no, definitely not.
Won't be the last time. Again, man, thanks for everything, bro. Like, you make this thing go. I get on here and try to come up with a topic, and you make it pop. Appreciate you. We'll get back on here another time, do a topic and really talk about your story, because I believe your story needs to be heard, right?
It does.
It needs to be heard, because it's people that struggle, right? It's people out there struggling, and you're a living example of that. You can come out on the other side, right? You can come out on the other side. And again, I seen it. I've seen it, and you got a testimony, bro. You have a living testimony. All right. But again, thank y'all for tuning in to the Above Ground Leadership Podcast. Follow us on Instagram. We got a Facebook page. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. Leave any comments of any topics that you would like to hear about. Other than that, y'all have a great day. Be great today.
Be great today.